Hello, and welcome back to day 13 of the 21-day Joy Reboot. And today's challenge is forgiveness. And I want to say this clearly before we get into it. Forgiveness is not about anyone else. It is about setting yourself free. One of the biggest things that block people from experience true happiness is resentment. And resentment is heavy. It's exhausting. And it's one of the most common pieces of emotional baggage that people carry around without realizing how much it's weighing them down. Like, literally, just think about it as you're carrying a bunch of luggage, bags, grocery bags full of, canned goods around with you everywhere. Forgiveness is about breaking down the walls of a prison and letting the inmates go free. And you might be thinking, I'm not actually holding anyone prisoner. But the truth is, if you're carrying resentment, either for someone else or towards yourself, you are the one in the prison. One of the best quotes about forgiveness that hits home for me is holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. So if you're honest with yourself, ask, am I holding on to this because I think it's hurting the other person? Am I keeping some kind of score? Am I waiting for them to pay some kind of debt? Because in reality, they might not even know that you're carrying that resentment, and they have no way to know when you're feeling those feelings. But you do. You know when you're feeling those feelings. And that's why forgiveness matters so much when it comes to happiness and joy. You can do all of the mindset work. You can do these joy practices every single day, all the habits that we're going to go through. But if you still hold a lot of resentment, it's going to block your ability to fully feel joy. That was a tongue twister right there. So I want to also make sure you're not misunderstanding. Forgiveness does not mean that we say that whatever happened was okay, or it's excusing harmful behavior, or that you have to reconcile with someone. It doesn't mean that you're denying your pain or that you are going to allow it to happen again. Forgiveness doesn't require anything to change in your external world. It's an internal release for you. It's letting go of the belief that someone owes you something. It's releasing the anger and the hatred and the resentment, not for them, but for you. And when you forgive, you create space inside of yourself, and that can be filled with peace and lightness and joy. Okay. You got to release something and replace it with something happier. So today's challenge is forgiveness. And I know that that can be hard, and that's okay. And I want you to move through it with compassion for yourself. So I'm going to ask you to do a forgiveness exercise that's linked below. It has helped so many of my clients release resentment and feel so much lighter. The first step is going to start with you. You're going to forgive yourself. A lot of times we'll make a mistake, we'll hurt someone else, we'll fall short of our own expectations. But the thing is, we don't often pay for it just once. We will replay that little piece in our mind over and over and over again. And we carry guilt, shame, and regret far longer than necessary. And animals don't do this. If you think about it, if two animals get into a fight and one of them's in the wrong, it gets bit, it learns its lesson, it goes on and moves on. It doesn't think about it over and over again and shame itself or guilt itself. But humans, we punish ourselves repeatedly. And that continues to just grind it into us, So we punish ourselves without realizing it. So is there something that you need to forgive yourself for? Are you still holding something in your past against yourself? Are you punishing yourself or sabotaging yourself in some way because of this guilt or shame or resentment or regret that you just keep replaying in your mind? And then you're going to consciously choose to release the guilt. The next step will be to forgive others. Write down who you feel some type of resentment for, who you need to forgive. And then reflect on, how is the act of not forgiving them affecting your life? What pain is it causing you to not let this go? And are there any lessons that you can take from the experience? Now, forgiveness does not require you contact this person. It doesn't require an apology. It doesn't require them to change. It is about choosing freedom for you, releasing that baggage for yourself. If it feels right, you can express forgiveness to that person, but it's definitely not mandatory. When you release that resentment, you will feel lighter, more open, more peaceful. And it's weight that often you don't realize you're carrying until it lifts. And that space, the space that forgiveness creates, is where joy returns. So take your time with this one, be gentle with yourself, and I'll see you tomorrow.